Thanks for staying with us. So joining us on the show for the first segment is the Commissioner for Information in Delta State, Mr. Charles Aniagwu, to help clear the air on the explosion that happened in Agbor. I'm probably touch on what happened yesterday, but we'll start with the Agbor explosion. Honorable Commissioner, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, loud and clear. Good morning.
Good to have you on the show. So we needed some clarity on the explosion, the gas explosion, especially because it was situated in a residential area. And many Nigerians were really worried how DPR was able to get permission first and why there weren't enough safety measures like fire stations or relief help for the community in that area. So could you just clarify exactly what happened and how we can ensure this doesn't happen again?
Well, thank you very much. But before we start, let me also start by clarifying that it wasn't situated in a residential area. If you happen to know the site of that particular gas station, you will discover that first of all, it's on an express route, the Benin or Nisha route. And then before it, several, at least up to about 500 meters before that gas station, no building from the left and also from the right. And also right behind the gas station, there wasn't any building. But what happened is that the fire itself did not also start from the gas station. But just as they were loading the content of the truck that brought in the gas, there was an accident that happened that led to a leak of the gas. And then, of course, you know, gas, like vapor, it evaporates and moves with air. And as it moves, in this instance, it now, in the course of time, caught up with a house where somebody was cooking. And now it drew the fire from that house back to the gas station. And then the gas station caught fire. And after some couple of minutes, the gas station also went up in there was a burst of the tank containing the liquid content. And that now caused it to explode, thereby now sending the fire back to the community through the surrounding bushes. And, you know, many have said that why do they put a gas station along residential area? You live here in Lagos. Between here in K2, where your station is sited, and Apapa, there is no single bush. You have houses. Are we saying that there's no gas station between here and Apapa? And in any case, the nature of our country, even when you decide to go and site it in a bush, that land where you site it belongs to you. But the one that is beside you, where you have share boundary, belongs to another man. Now, will you say because you have been able to build your own gas station, and as such, the next man should not develop his own plot forever? It's a matter of time. Houses will somehow come close. What needed to be done is to ensure that gas stations, wherever you decide to site them, have a lot of safety measures. Petrol stations equally, as today, even when before now, they site it and make sure that there's no living accommodation around the petrol station, the filling station. But over time, the owners of these plots, because all the plots, you know the nature of our country, doesn't belong to the government, they belong to individuals. And individuals, as a matter of time, will certainly develop their own plots. You will not say because you have started a gas station and I want to build a house and that is the only plot I have, I should not even develop it. I only just wanted to respond to the issue of whether it was a residential area, but in this instance, it wasn't a question of a residential area.
Right. So you have raised a lot of issues. You have raised a lot of issues, I'm sure my colleagues are aware, but I want to stay on the cause of the fire. So now you explained that certain kilometers to the location of the gas station and away from it, there are no buildings. And yet,
reasonable meters, not up to
reasonable meters, and yet a fire from another building, you know, causes fire there. Are you saying this as a matter of investigation of, or you know, the result of a proper fire investigation? 1 minute, sir.
I'm sure you saw the governor visit the place.
Yes. I saw the visit. This is my question. Is this the result of a post-fire investigation by competent experts? I'm the daughter of a fire expert, and I know what I'm saying. or this is just, the result of, feedback or eyewitness reports on what happened around?
If I'm cooking in my house and I decide to go out to the sitting room and fire starts from the kitchen, and all of a sudden the fire now gets to the sitting room, I don't need a fire expert to come and tell me that the fire that came to my sitting room started from the kitchen where I know there was fire. That you already know, because even the man that you say want to investigate, his question is going to ask. No house was raised down in the course of this fire incident we're talking about, because it moved by air. It's like bomb. Everything we're talking about in terms of those casualties happened in the split of minutes, because the moment it exploded, just like bomb, there was even a man who was just riding his motorcycle. It caught up with him. The motorcycle got burnt. He himself also got burnt, because the gas, you know how gas is, it's an explosive. Once it happens, in a split second, it's not as if the people were standing and then the fire was just on them, and then they begin to look at how to put out the fire on any of them.
All right, let me pause you for a second.
Mr. Commissioner, sir. Okay, we get it. Accidents happen, and sometimes we can't help when these incidents happen. But we have things in government that government has put in place, and we're hoping that has been put in place in Delta State as well. Town planning regulations. I wonder what type of town planning regulations are in Delta State. The health and safety measures that are put in place just to help, reduce the impact of an incident or an accident that happens, especially where there are human beings living there. What are the sort of things that government has in place to protect individuals when accidents or incidents like this happen?
Thank you. Not a few minutes after that incident happened, we were able to mobilize fire trucks to go and put out the fire. But what I'm trying to say is that, yes, I agree that certain safety measures need to be put in place irrespective of where they are sited. I started this conversation by telling you that your station is in K2, Ikusi K2. Between K2 and Apapa, you don't have any bushes. You have everywhere is built up. Are we saying that there are no gas stations between here and Apapa? Or even when you want to move from Apapa to Victoria Island, no single forest anywhere, everywhere is built up. Or you also move from Apapa, you decide to go to Tresoshudi, everywhere is built up. In all these areas, people refill their cooking gas. What you do is not issue of this, where is it sited? Because if you talk about where it's sited, then all the ones in Lagos should be taken away, and then you take it to far away in a bed where you have a forest. If everybody believes that a gas station must be in the forest. Meanwhile, that gas station is to serve individuals, not to serve animals in the bush. People will even go to this gas station and purchase gas. Most important, and no matter where you decide to site it, what is important is the safety measures you are talking about to ensure that it does not lead to where there is a leak. And secondly, in the event that there is a leak, that is immediately curtailed so that it does not lead to untold consequences. We have been able, we supported what happened in Agbor, but it's not a question of where it was sited, because if you talk about where it was sited, you will not even blame DPR.
Okay.
In case of this particular gas station we're talking about.
Let's go on a quick break, sir.
We're there with
let's go on a quick break.
Your correspondent.
When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with you, sir. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we still have with us the Commissioner for Information, Delta State, Mr. Charles Aniagwu.
Commissioner Charles, so you keep mentioning...
Yes, my sister.
I'm actually from Delta State, Asaba to be precise, and you keep mentioning Lagos State and the fact that we have gas plants all around Lagos. Now, Lagos has learned from his mistakes, and if you follow the trend, you see that there are a lot of people who are coming up to fight, tank farms and gas plants being situated in residential areas. That's a major fight that's ongoing as we speak in Lagos State. Now, I want to ask you as a Deltan, what is the plan of the government to avoid the mistakes a state like Lagos has made so that you do not endanger the lives of your people? Your job is to protect the lives of Deltans. What plans do you have so that this does not continually repeat itself?
Okay, thank you very much. I agree with you. Safety of the people, particularly as a provided for in Section 14 subsection 2, paragraph B of the Nigerian Constitution is the main purpose of a government, the security of the people. And that we are committed to ensuring that we'll take to heart and ensure that our people are protected. The reason why I mentioned Lagos is that you were talking about issue of sighting or no sighting. I said, look, taking precautionary measures, safety measures is very, very important. Because the gas that you are talking about is to be used by people. Even when you take it to a farm, the people will still go to where the gas station is to buy the gas. And even if 10 people or 15 people have come on a particular day, to buy the gas in that bush where you think they should sight the gas, and then those safety measures are not in place, and then there is an explosion, the death of one man is even also very important, not to talk about 15 persons who may have gathered in addition to the gas attendants. So it's not a question of whether there are other houses that are around. In this case, they are not even around because it's surrounded by a palm tree plantation. If you go to the place, you still see it. On either side, it does not share fence with anybody. I am not the owner of the gas station, so that you begin to say that I'm defending the siting of the gas station. I am saying that we agree that continuously, irrespective of where it's sited, safety measure is important to ensure that in the event of an accident, that you are able to arrest it so that it does not escalate. Vehicles have been so nice. In coming to your station this morning, I rode on a vehicle. Perhaps even as we were coming, there could have been an accident somewhere else in another vehicle. Will I say because there was an accident involving a vehicle then nobody will board vehicles anymore? We will continue to improve on the safety of not only gas stations, but on only any other facility. You have high tension wires, electric wires, running through the cities. Even when people don't build under them, because of issues of land and non-availability, there are a number of farms that you even see under high tension electric cables, which is not advisable. But even when it falls, even when you decide not to farm under that high tension, if it falls, any of the wire gets caught on accidentally, and then there is rain, the rainwater may also make you to suffer severe damage on account of that high tension cable that may have disconnected from its source. So, that's why it's called accident. So, but earlier, in our own case, like we have said now on account of this, the governor has said we will come up with a legislation to further make it very, very stringent on the operations of gas stations. We are also looking at, even on that particular day, as soon as we finish our inspection, the governor has given order for quick acquisition of additional fire trucks in our state. In addition to repairing some that we're having faults in some other areas. These are measures we are taking to further ensure that the safety is enhanced. So it's not as if we are keeping quiet and then having visited the place, we now decide to step back, because it could have been any one of us. Apart from the fact that the governor took steps to ensure that the bills, the medical bills, are of course absorbed by the government, we are also taking further steps to preventing it rather than the curative measures that we are taking at the moment. But I just needed to be clear on that.
Okay, so we are clear on the location of the tank, the gas plant. You know, it's like you said, it's existing away from buildings. But you mentioned earlier that when a person buys their land, you can't control what they build on their land, which is why my colleague was asking questions on town planning. So if a person wants to locate a residential building around a gas plant that has been moved away from residential building, are we going to say that the government can't, you know, restrict or compel that person to not reside close to that gas plant to protect his life?
First, let us take cognizance of where we live in this part of the world. Communal atmosphere usually pervades our communities. Land largely belongs to these individuals, even if government has certain control by the Land Use Act. The moment, even just like, for instance, you have a gas plant, so somebody sells the land to you, and then you are starting a gas plant, no building, no structure, very close to it. That land you are buying does not belong to the government. It belongs to an individual who has decided to sell it to you. Now, anywhere you construct your fence, from your fence down to the left or to the right, belongs to another person. Will you ask that person, maybe that is the only land where he has, that he usually cultivates, will you ask him not to go and farm?
No, sir.
In that particular land because you have a gas station?
No, but town planning can compel. No, sir. Town planning can compel him not to reside close to that inflammable.
let me tell you the issue of compelling by town plan. There are things you can compel. You can compel, you can't build this kind of structure here because of our town plan, but you cannot compel that I should not use my land.
You can resell your land and reside where it's safe.
You say what?
You can sell your land to another person who has the same purpose of the kind of business around where your land is located. And reside where it's safe. Government can compel you to do that.
Let us assume I sell the land. I want to agree with you without considering. Let us assume I sell the land to another person who wants to also establish another gas plant. So that you have co-location, gas plant, sharing boundary with gas plant. Now on the left of that,
so let me put that aside. Sir, Commissioner, let me put that aside for a moment because there are other pertinent issues, such as ensuring fire stations are certain kilometers within various communities.
Those are the things.
Now, that's the kind of plan we want to hear government tell us about.
Safety measures. That is what I'm talking about, safety measures. But to be saying that once a land is where town planning will stop the other man from using his land, I don't know which law town planning will rely on to stop a man from using his land when he's not going to pay compensation. Now, on the issue of a fire station, right there in Agbor, we have a fire station. And in building fire station, the man who have established the gas plant is also mandated, even by the approval of DPR, to have fire hydrants. So that even before the main fire trucks coming from the government, the person is able to offer certain measures to mitigate the effect. But we are not talking about fire from firewood. We are talking about fire caused by gas that is in the air. And it doesn't take 3 million years to happen. Once it is gas is air. The moment it explodes, what you need to stop is to prevent that kind of a careless explosion. That is the issue of the major number one measure you need to take. Because the moment it explodes, did you know that nobody in that gas station got burnt or was injured? You know what happened? As soon as that accident happened, they knew the danger that awaits them. They all ran away because they knew that there was already a problem. At that time, the place had not caught fire, but they have been so educated to know that there's danger. It took a couple of minutes for the fire now, the gas, to locate fire somewhere within the community and then bring it back to the fire station. So if it was what people thought, that issue of the fire starting from the gas station, all the attendants would have first of all been burnt down.
Okay. Let me go on a quick break, sir. When you come back, we'll still continue this conversation with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have the Honorable Commissioner for Information, Delta State, with us. BC had a question. Go ahead,
Commissioner, I wanted to know, in this case now, who will be held responsible and what compensation plans does the government have for victims of this fire?
Well, at the moment, when we visited and saw that there was nothing too wrong with the siting of that particular gas station on account of the fact that you have plantations surrounding the gas plant, we felt that the first thing to do is not to begin to look for who to hold responsible, but to attend to the victims. And that was why we visited those who lost their loved ones or whose brothers and sisters got burnt on account of that inferno. And then immediately the governor directed the commissioner for health to proceed to UBTH, where most of them were taken to. Of course, you know, the issue of burn, many individuals may not know. It is not every hospital that have a full-fledged burn session where you deal with issues of burn. Because every sickness, like for instance, you come, you have an eye problem. Nobody will send you to a hospital where they are treating bones. They will take you to a place where you are going to treat the eye.
Correct.
The accident on account of burns, if it gets beyond a certain level, certain degree, possibly beyond 30%, you now need a specialist hospital to be able to deal with it.
Yes.
In this case, a number of these persons got burnt up to 80%, and you know that is quite serious. You need to prevent, because you cannot wear the person clothes like you would do in other areas. You will need to prevent the possibility of contracting some other bacteria that may worsen the state of that particular person, that victim. So everything is still on. We are carrying out a further investigation to begin to look at what to do. Because if you just begin to say, okay, you started your gas station and this thing happened and it's an accident, it's like when you just see a man whose vehicle tumbled several times, and then you begin to look for how to first of all hold him because his vehicle tumbled, and meanwhile the next another vehicle will tumble. If you need to look at that floor where the vehicle tumbled, you see that there is an undulating terrain along that road, or the man oversped. Okay. There are a lot of things you need to consider before you begin to talk about.
We have to wrap up with you, sir.
Let me quickly add. Let me quickly add. Earlier on, you were talking about the issue of tank farm. Tank farms are situated far away from cities. They are not retail outlets. The tanker, or what you may call trucks, goes to a tank farm like the one that brought the gas that was offloading. Must have gone to a tank farm from where it loaded to bring it closer to the people, where it will serve the people, just like your filling stations. Every petrol that you are buying in a filling station was brought from a tank farm somewhere. Because you cannot go to tank farm to refill your vehicle, they bring it to a filling station that is where you live or where you can access. And then when you drive into the filling station, you buy your fuel. The same thing, the gas station. This gas station is a retail gas station where home gas users, domestic gas users, will come with their cans, or what you call them, the gas cylinders. They come in, refill, and then they go to their homes, the cooking gas. You are not going to go and put it in tank farm for somebody to drive for 40 kilometers because he wants to cook.
All right,
so point taken. I just need to point that.
All right, so I have to wrap up with you, but I think the conversation Mariam was talking about earlier was government's responsibility somehow. But either way, I would like to ask for your update on COVID-19, education on COVID-19, and what you're doing, because here we hear that lots of victims are being transported to Edo State for high-level health issues. Some of even these burns had to go to Edo State for proper health care. What's your government doing in improving your healthcare facilities and educating people more on COVID-19 and prevention?
Well, on the issue of COVID-19, we are not taking any patients to Edo State anymore. That was at the beginning. Now we have a treatment centers in our state. Okay. It was only the issue of this fire that we had to refer people to UBTH, where they have a complete bond session to deal with such issues. That of COVID-19, we have a number of centers. We are also carrying out a number of tests, but we give God the glory that our case in Delta is not as it is in a number of other states. And so God is helping us in that regard, because yes, we have done a number of things, but we don't want to take the glory, given the fact that we still have a very, very low number of persons infected. But that notwithstanding, just yesterday, we took a decision as a government to further introduce some curfew to restrain movements at night between the hours of 10 and 4 p.m. Individuals may want to ask, does it mean that is the only time COVID-19 moves? Why are you asking people not to move beyond 10 p.m.? We understand that enforcing certain rules is quite difficult in the dark. And then when you leave people to begin to also congregate so much, that is when people will want to go to club. And then, of course, when you go to club, there are certain behaviors that you cannot enforce. I can't see anybody asking anybody to maintain social distance in a club when people are supposed to be dancing together and then sitting together and drinking together and sharing glasses and all sort of, even taking their shisha and all sort of those sort of things, which may likely more like serve as a super spreader. And that we are doing. We are also carrying out continuous sensitization. But we must add that even in the midst of that sensitization, our people must learn not to ask government to do everything. We must also take responsibility. And how do I mean? A situation where somebody, for instance, gets to a traffic light. The traffic light installed by government shows red. And then the man is looking whether there is a last mile officer by the side so that he can beat the traffic. What is that person doing? It means the person is not taking responsibility. And when you beat the traffic, you may likely be involved in an accident, which may claim your life. When the person dies in that accident, it is not a government accident. It is not the government that dies. It's that individual that dies. And if you know that it's the individual that dies on account of such carelessness, why does it stop you from not taking that personal responsibility? We can ask you to put on face masks. We can ask you to maintain social distance. We can even ask you to wash your hand 1,000,000 times. But you must know that your own personal responsibility is high. Some persons were asking us during the U time, did you say that we should not go and get involved in midnight service or crusade. And I was asking, why do you need to ask me whether you should go? You have been told that when you congregate that much, you may be involved in an occasion that is a super spreader, where most people may contract the virus. And when you contract it, you are also further spreading it and endangering the life of others. Why do you need government to further tell you which crusade to go to and which crusade not to go to? Why not take personal responsibility to know that, yes, I can worship my God, but I should do that I do not endanger both my life and of others.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I think we can wrap up with this at this time. Thank you very much for clearing up that up for us. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to other stories. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.